episode chilly, but it's supposed to be colder for the foreseeable future, so I don't know how many videos I'm going to get out of this, so this might be a short one, just depending on how much I get done today. But let's just do a little quick walk around now that I have the engine out. So let's start on this side. Not much to do on this side. I'm going to remove everything, and then I have to find a way to get that out. Now that's loose. That's that little grounding stud that holds the dipstick, and then your grounds go in there. So we'll have to see on that one, on how it goes. But everything else seems to be fine. I've got some oil and dirt buildup on this side, on the back side, and then rust and dirt on the front side. So we'll try to remove as much as we can. On this side, a couple issues I foresee is here's where the engine mount is supposed to be, and you see that piece of a bolt is still sticking out there. One's stuck in there. Hopefully I can get it out. And then this broke off right here. So with the Brown Dog system, it utilizes these three plus I believe that one and a couple on this side as well to hold the plate in, so that will be a lot better. I'm going to completely remove the AC compressor. I did order, and I do have the delete system for it. And another part that might be a pain is to get these off. I'm not sure if these are stock. I'm gonna have to look. Like, I don't know if they're aftermarket, but to get, there's two bolts that hold the intake manifold and exhaust manifold in place, but I don't see a good way to really get up in there and get to them. So I'm not sure exactly their thought process on this design of making a little, I'm sure there's something involved, especially if this is stock, but I foresee that being a problem. Once you get them loose, they come out pretty easy, but the problem is just getting a wrench up there in the first place. And then again, I got caked oil and dirt on this side, and then rust, I believe, and dirt on the front side. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all these tubes and heater core tubes, get them out of the way, and then I'm going to start removing stuff. And then remove the cover. So I'm hoping that it looks good underneath there. I haven't seen in this engine what it looks like, so we'll see if there's any crud buildup and stuff like that. But let's get to it. Now to remove a lot of these hoses, I just like to use one of these and then just slip it up. Ooh, that one might be kind of hard. So that's the problem with these kind of hose clamps, is I can't get it tight enough to fit around the lip of that. So annoying. But then when you get the screw ones, the ones that tighten with the screwdriver, they make them so cheap that a lot of times they break on me. So that one slid off pretty easily. And then we got this one, which I don't know if I can get to this one. And that lip might be too much too. It's hard for me to get to this one. Oh, here we go. It's hard to get to when it's up in there because you got the bracket for the power steering. Well, that's not wanting to slide over either. That's the big problem with, like I said, the problem with these. So let me try to put the camera down and let me try to get it loosened up. Alright, I got them off. Pain in the butt. There's a lot of corrosion at the tip of this. So what I may do is just replace this housing. And I do have another one, so that's not a problem. Problem is messing with the thermostat in there. Sometimes it likes to slip out when you're trying to seat this back in place. This was a pain as well. A little bit of corrosion, just not as bad. Inside looks pretty good though, other than what went back down in there. But and then this one came off pretty easy. So, and I did order new valves. Well, this one's a breather and this one's typically a valve, so I did order new ones for the new setup, so we'll see on that. But these right here are 11 millimeter. Actually, I'm going to remove this one first. As you can see, the grounding strap is broke off. It wasn't attached whatsoever before I pulled the engine out, so it wasn't me. It was already done that way. Because this should go, I believe this goes typically to the hood. Or not to the hood? Maybe to the hood. Somewhere, either the firewall or the hood it goes to. And then there was another grounding strap. I believe it came from the harness that went to, that went to the firewall. So this either connects to the hood, I think it connects to the hood, or the firewall. So maybe both. It just depends on the setup, I guess. But let's go ahead and remove that nut on the head bolt right there. And I don't know what size it is, so let's try. I'm dropping stuff all over. So it's an 18 millimeter. I'm gonna probably need a deep socket for it. And then we'll put that back on as soon as we get the valve cover off, so we don't lose it. It needs cleaned up anyways. Let's put these together. So I'll need to get a new grounding strap for that. And then these aren't typically torqued very tight. Damn it. Let me get, I don't know where my, oh, let me get this put on a tripod. All right. So it's actually really clean. So I'm actually happy to see that it's very clean. And here's the old gasket. Gasket doesn't look too bad. Oh, this is gonna be trash, so I'll throw it in my trash pile over here. Yeah, so I'm real happy about that. Because some of them I've opened up before and it's so gunky in here. And I was afraid with all the gunk on the outside that the inside would be pretty bad, but this looks really nice. I mean, you can still see the numbers in there for the most part. A little bit of gunk buildup, but not bad. Not bad at all. So I'm happy about that. For next one, let's go. Because I would like to clean this up. This surface right here, you want to clean that up. It's got like a layer of gunk on it, but let's try to get the intake out of the way. See if I can reach those 2 volts in the back. I think I kept one removed. I'm gonna have to get a flashlight to see it. I think I removed 2 of them already because I was trying to remove it so I could get to this easier. I just couldn't get to it when it was still inside the hinge, so I ended up just cutting it off. Don't like doing that, but since I was deleting this anyways, so I just couldn't get my hand in here to unclip that wire harness. And this, I don't know what this goes to. That might go to the engine mount. Or is it this? Oh, it's the same one that goes there. Maybe it is that one. Just doesn't look as dirty as I thought it was. Oh yeah, I did move it over here. So same threading and everything, looks different though. Alright, let me move on to that and try to get to these bolts that are hidden way up underneath. Alright, I got the intake off. This one wasn't even down all the way. It was out enough I could still slide out the intake. But this one, I can't see the hole. Right there, like you see where it's located, right? And these are supposed to be torqued to a certain spec. But I don't know how you get a torque wrench in that spot right there. Like, that's insane. That is insane. Even this one, that's like not in the right spot to get a wrench in there. Just the way these are like made. I don't know. The more I look at this stuff, the more I think that it's not this isn't stock. This is like aftermarket stuff. So I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, it's just insane. But I mean, this comes out by hand, so this could have been lost a long time ago. And the other thing I want to look at is, the intake doesn't look too bad. A little shitty gunk on the ends here. We'll try to fix that. Which, looking at this, yeah, see how gunky it is. Yeah, try to clean that up as much as possible. But and you can tell on the seal, the gasket for the intake is crumbling, so that needs to be changed anyway soon. And something I noticed, look at that hole. I don't know if you can see it on your end. Yeah, like I don't see any exhaust crap to it, but it almost looks like that one's cracked. That one right there. But let's get it off to get a better look at it. So these are, I believe, 15 millimeters is what I'm using. So I'll go ahead and get these off and get a good look at the exhaust manifold. Alright, I got it out, and you can see the crack a little better right there. So that's might be a part of the reason it's making so much noise. That's not good. And not to mention these were loose, so it almost looks like there might be another crack right there on that. And this is one piece. I'm pretty sure for this year they made it 2 pieces. I know I took some off of a 2001 engine and it was at 2 pieces. So that's interesting. Yeah, look at how crappy this is. Yep, so it's definitely I don't know where I put my but it's falling apart. Luckily I got a new one. So we'll clean all this up. Probably all at one time. So next thing I'm going to do is, since I'm seeing a lot of like crud in the exhaust and intake a little bit for this, I'm going to go pull a spark plug and see what the spark plug looks like. Alright, spark plug, if I can get it to zoom in. Doesn't look too bad. Not sure what that black is on the bottom there, but one thing that bothers me though is looking at the tip. It has got the same kind of corrosion a little bit on the tip. So whoever had installed these didn't put any dielectric grease or anything. Anyways, I'm going to put this back in. It's a little rusty too. So I may go ahead and do a tune-up on this. But altogether, not too bad. For a car, for a vehicle that's 23 years old, you know. And then so I'm just going to start removing stuff as I go. I'll do updates, but I'm going to start with this, get this whole side. You can see all the gunk that's collected here. Actually, this side looks a lot better than the other side. And then I'll move on to this side and get everything removed. Only thing I'm leaving in place, I'll probably still leave the oil filter in place. So it's still kind of a new oil filter. And the distributor, I keep calling it distributor, it's probably called something else now with the newer version. And then we'll see how much cleanup that we actually got to do. And once I get those removed, I'm going to clean up, starting with the top up here, and then probably go ahead and install the new one. Let's see, look at how cruddy it is. So, okay. Alright, so I brought the AC delete out, so it just mounts basically right where the AC goes, right in there. And then it still uses this bracket right here, which I'm going to take it off, but we know not to get rid of this bracket if you're switching to no AC. So to save bolts, I'm going to put the bolts on this thing. So the longer one goes right up through there. Little rusty, so hopefully it works. I don't know, it's kind of stopping right there. It could be just because it's rusty. Yeah, it's going in there. It's just... I don't know, it's not wanting to go in that way. That's the way it's supposed to go in, but... And this is aluminum, so you got to be careful with it. And then, let's see. This one, I believe, came from right there. Which that's not wanting to. Yeah, so we're going to have to be careful with them. You got to get them straight in. That might be why that one's not going in totally right. But when we put it in between that, it should space it out properly. And then So we want to keep this bracket too. This holds your power steering pump in, and then that's going to go in right there. That's having a double of the time getting in too. So this is going to be interesting. I don't know, hopefully we don't strip those out when we install it, but all right, let's set this to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and remove this little bracket right here just to get it out of the way, and plus the Brown Dog motor mounts might use that one right there, so there we go. And it looks like this stud is loose, so that's one of the bolts that broke off for the motor mount, so we can get rid of that one. Now just hopefully whatever one up here, it's probably that one. I don't know if I can get that out easily or not. So it's got it all off. So I took off the alternator, both 15 millimeter socket. I believe it's 15 millimeter. Let me check. It's the same one I've been using. Yeah, 15 millimeter. So there's two bolts. The bracket. Where'd I put the bracket? Right here. So you got the top one here. Here's your idler pulley, and a longer one along the bottom that connects in with the alternator itself, which I'm going to go ahead and put that in there, because guarantee the new one's not going to come with it. And then the bracket for the alternator is on these 4 bolts right here, which is 15 millimeter. And then the motor mount was 15 millimeter, 3 bolts. That came out a lot easier than I was comfortable with, so it's a good thing. We'll have everything torqued properly and going on forward. Unless, well, I can't use this exhaust pipe, not with it cracked like that. I'd have to take it in and get it repaired or repair it myself, but I can't have that crack in there. And then I thought I saw a crack on this side, but anyways, I already showed you guys that. And so now I am going to plug some holes because we don't want any dirt going down into down in there. So because what I need to do is I need to clean this surface off right here, and I need to clean this surface off. So I'll probably stuff something down these too, so that way I'm not getting any film. And I may have to go ahead and remove this so I can do this front area, since I want to replace this anyways. I've got one of those somewhere around here, brand new. Plus I can check the thermostat. Looks like it's been redone more recently. But everything's looking good. Looks bare. I don't want to mess with this, because as soon as I pull this out, like, I'm messing with the timing of the engine, so I don't want to do that. And then future down the road, I'm going to flip it upside down, take the oil pan off. I did get a new oil pan for this one. I think this one's good, but the fact that I have to clean it up so much and it's starting to rust, I decided to just, you know, for 60 bucks I can just get a Dorman replacement. So that'll save me some time when I get to that point anyways. So, but let's get this plugged up as best we can, and then start cleaning the surface up here, so that way we can put the new one on. Alright, so I got them in place. So the torque specifications, so if you're doing it with RTV, it's 28 inch-pounds, and then with permanent gasket it's 55 inch-pounds. So that's interesting. So I'm gonna have to figure this out. I believe my wrench is only to foot-pounds, so this one, yeah, so it's only to foot-pounds, so I'm gonna have to do some calculations. Alright, so the specification is 55 foot-pounds for the type of gasket I've got. Problem is, I do not have an inch-pound torque wrench, so this one is, wherever I put it, is in foot-pounds. So 55, I'm not sure the formula on it, I just did a Google search for it. 55 inch-pounds converted to foot-pounds is basically about 4.5, which my foot-pounds, wherever I put it, I don't know where I put it. Anyways, the lowest setting it has on it is 10 foot-pounds. Now, that's not too as big a deal if you use something like that over there, unless, I mean, obviously you don't want to squish out the rubber grommet, but especially for the cast iron like this one is, or casted aluminum I should say, is you can easily crack the end, especially like that end right there. And it might be all right with these other ones, but I've done that before on a cast aluminum, where I cracked this one because I tightened it down too far. So, and I think most people do not have an inch-pound wrench, and that's something I might have to consider getting for the future. So that's why I probably find a lot of these where they're loosened up. Now fortunately for this one, when I took the old one off, none of them were loose, even though you could see that there was oil leaking down the back. So, but I've seen them where, you know, you could almost just unscrew it by hand just as it's sitting in the engine. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get these snug. I'm not gonna tighten them too bad, and it's just something I'll have to check every so often to make sure that they stay tight, and go from there. And there's no order in the Haynes manual as far as how to do these, but I'm gonna go ahead and probably start in the middle here, similar to like the head bolts where you start in the middle and work your way out. I'm gonna do the same for this, and then just get them snug. Not hand snug, but wrench snug, so we don't want to go too far with it. Well, I have them tightened down. Unfortunately, I did exactly what I told you not to do. I didn't go very far, but it still cracked that corner right there. So no bueno. No bueno. That would have been a nice cover to put on there too. So back to square one. We'll just take this off. I'll do that later on. I won't show it on here. I'll take it off and we'll have to use the old one. Clean it up a little bit, and I mean, everything's still good on there. So I'll just go through and I'll replace the grommets. And I did order a new valve and breather, but I guess I don't need it. So I'll just hold on to it for just in case later on. But I mean, this thing looks pretty clean, so I'm not too worried about it. But anyways, I'm gonna end the video here, and so that way I can get one out for this week. And like I was saying, it may be a while till I can get another video out, because it's supposed to be probably 20 degrees or less in the next foreseeable future. So I'm not sure when I'll be able to get back out here and work on this. But in the next video, I will be doing the oil pan. I'm not going to show you any of the cleanup and replacement of the other valve cover. I'll just go ahead and do it off video, because I can go faster without trying to mess with the camera. But I'll get that put back on here and then get rid of this one that I just ruined. And I've done that before. It's made me realize I need to get a wrench that I can do inch pounds on, because there's a lot of things on this Jeep that it just takes inch pounds and not foot pounds. So anyways, have a nice few weeks, and I will see you in the next video, or you'll see me anyways. I'll talk to you later.